Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the very latest cassette deck to come in from Japan. This is a Kenwood KX-880G, and as I'm looking at it, it's rather much nicer than I thought it was going to be, considering it only cost me 35 bucks. Yes folks, this is the cheapest deck I've bought in Japan. The Technics RSM75 was close, it was 38 bucks, but no, this one's the cheapest. And it's direct drive, 2 heads, so I couldn't pass it up. What is this doing here? Well, it's here as a parts deck, actually. But before I use it for parts, I would like to get it serviced and see what it's like and how good it is and whatnot, and all that other good stuff. I must point out that me paying 35 bucks for this does not seem to be an anomaly for this model. Even right now, as I speak, you can see a bunch of them on the Yahoo Japan listings for between 35 and 50 bucks. So if you ever wanted a direct drive 2-head deck that's halfway decent, well, this probably will fit the bill for you. But even with the low shipping or the low purchase cost, I had to split the shipping on this because shipping from Japan is expensive. I think it would have cost about 75 bucks to ship this on its own the slow way, which I can't use anymore thanks to Canada Post going on strike again, but that's a whole other story. No, the shipping on this was combined with other things, so that made it a little bit easier for me to justify this. The other things I got were 3 of these, because I thought it would be good to have 3 more TDK medals to use for calibrations and whatnot. But the real thing I went out to go buy in Japan is this. This is a DBX 224XDS. This is the digital DBX box they had available. And thanks to this guy, every single cassette deck I have now can be using DBX, including the Nakamichi ZX9. So I'm excited to start using this for the first time, but that's another video. This video is about this deck, and we're going to see what it's all about, and we have calibration for both bias and level, which is rare on a 2-head machine. Honestly, the level thing alone makes me kind of want to keep this as is, but oh well, it's my fault. It was either this and the DBX box or this and another one of these. I could have done it either way, and I just knew I wanted that DBX box, so the DBX box is here. That's all I can tell you there. So, this is not the only direct drive 2-head Sankyo-based tape deck that showed up in the last day or so. In fact, the other one showed up at the same time. You want to see it? Yeah, let's go see it real quick. Alright, this is going to be a little bit hard to see, considering I'm in the furnace room here with these new shelves I had put in for, or that I put in for extra storage. But this is my Kyocera D611 cassette deck here. Exact same transport as the Kenwood. Direct drive, 2 heads. I can't wait to get started on this, but this is not for today's video. Okay, enough screwing around. Let's see what works and what doesn't work on this particular Kenwood. By the way, I should mention, if you're looking for these in Japan, there are about 8 or 9 different models, or different versions of this tape deck. So if you're looking in Japan, search for KX-880 by itself. No Kenwood or anything, because if you specify Kenwood, you'll only get the Kenwood decks. You won't get the trio versions of this deck. And the trio versions are really nice. They're almost always silver, so if you want one of these in silver, look for the trio version. Anyway, let's see what works. Power on. We've got a light in here, but nothing on either of the displays. Do we have capstan motor action? Yes, we do. The capstan motor is working. but we have no displays. We're going to have to look into that first, I guess. Could be something simple like the filament voltage missing or something like that, or bad solder joints. So the quick way to check for proper filament voltage is to turn all the lights off and see if you can see the orange lines in the displays. So we're going to do that now. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but we've got the lines in both displays, so this is not going to be quite so easy. To diagnose, I don't think, but let's not panic yet. Let's get this blank shell in here and we'll see if the transport does anything. We should, at the very least, get rewind and fast forward, as long as the real motor's not dead spotting. No rewind. No fast forward. No play. She's dead to the world. So I'm going to say there is probably a voltage missing. But since the capstan motor is working and we had a light in there, that means the power supply is at least partially functioning. So let me get the top off this and we'll continue looking. And I might as well boot up my little tablet here, because I think we're going to need the service manual as well. Okay, I don't know if you can see this very well or not. It's not the easiest thing to see, but it'll have to do. Great. Didn't mean to do that. Anyhow, we've got a couple of different voltages going to the displays, it looks like. We've got a -18 or so and a +5. So I'm going to try to check those voltages right now. Let's see, we need CN7, pins 3 and pin 2. So where are those in the deck? Well, they're impossible to get to. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? Let's see, CN7 is this one right over here. So we're going to have to probe on that if we can. First off, I'm going to see if I can figure out exactly which pin is which. Okay, there's pin 1, 2. Pin 1 is the closest to me. So we're going to need pins 2 and 3. So I will fire up the deck here. I've got the meter grounded. Don't worry about that. Capstan motor is running. So let's check which one do we want to do first, pin 2 or pin 3? Let's see, can you guys see that? I hope so. I'm going to have to get my head in here just to, well, I need to pull this closer to me is what I need to do. So, pin 2, let's get to that. I'm on it now. 56 millivolts. I think there's our problem right there. Let's try pin 3. -18. That one's there. So, okay, we know the 5 volt is missing now. So, where does the 5 volt come from? That's the question. Okay, we need to go back to the schematics here. And we'll see if we can figure this out. Okay, 5 volt comes to this little dot right there and comes down to another dot. We've got another 5 volt over to the other display, I would guess. And it goes down through here. Pin 7 of W6. That will be a connector or a wire or something. Actually, it's a ribbon cable, now that I'm looking over at it. And it comes over to here, and then down. Takes a left turn there, and comes down to Q35, it looks like. So we got to find Q35. Where does that be in the deck? We'll keep the meter on for now. I'm going to shut the deck down for now, and we'll just see if we can find this. Let's see what's in this area. This is the power supply here. That's Q16 there. What about these two? Q36, and what's this one? Q37. Okay, where is Q35 hiding? What is that one there? Q41. Let's see, it's got to be here somewhere. Oh, there it is. And do you see what I see? Is that resistor discolored? I think it is. What fuse is that? Or what resistor is that? Because I bet it's a fusible resistor. R156. Let's take a look in the schematics. If I can make my gimbal cooperate again. I need to replace this gimbal. Okay, 156 is right there. It supplies Q35. Definitely a fusible resistor. 47 ohms, 1 watt. Let's check on that resistor. See what we get. We'll go both sides with it, which is a lesson I learned the hard way on the Sony TCK75, which by the way needs further work, because of course it does. Okay, what do we get on this resistor? 12 volts on one side, (140 millivolts on the other side. So we have a failed fusible resistor. Now, why did said resistor fail? That's the question of the day. It is very clearly burned up. So why did it burn up? We have to find this. So let's go back to the schematics here and see what there is that could potentially burn that resistor. And I see something right there. C65, 100 ohms or 100 microfarads, 10 volts. So we got to find that capacitor and check it to see if it's shorted, because that could blow that resistor. I do have replacements for that resistor, but I am not going to go in with a replacement until I know for sure that it's going to be okay. So let's find that capacitor. C65. It's probably close by. So let me get in here and find it. There's 66. There is 65 right there. So how am I going to check that for being shorted? Good question. Let me get the tweezers out and we'll see what that says, because that's the easy way to do so. Milliohms, that's not a good sign for that capacitor. It is a good sign for us diagnosing the problem though. Oh yeah, that capacitor's dead. We must change that. So we got to change one capacitor and one resistor. So how am I going to do that without completely taking this deck apart? I just got to figure out how to get into there and do the work without well, maybe there's an access panel. Let's check. No access panel. This is going to be fun. Alright, so let me figure this out and I'll get back to you. Okay, so getting any further than this is going to be terrible, but I'll let you know exactly what it looks like you have to do to get to the underside of the circuit board in this thing. I think what we're going to have to do on this is we're going to have to take the back off first, and then we have to get behind here, because there's a screw in this cross member that I have to take out in order to get the board out. And it looks like we've got a bunch of other sub boards here as well to deal with. So fun stuff. But getting inside here hasn't been very hard at all. It looks like it's going to be very easy to get the transport out from here. Once I get to that part, I have to finish fixing the thing first, but I suppose I best try and get into this so I can actually do something with it. Clip there, clip there. Probably more clips I can't access. Or wait, is that how this works? It's not screwed in, is it? See, the problem is there's a screw right there I need to take out in order to get this cross member out, in order to get the board out. So this is fun. We are having fun. No, not really. Oh, there is an actual screw. It's on this side. I'm guessing the board comes off with the front panel, or with this plastic thing. See if that is indeed the case. So these guys at Kenwood decided to make this as impossible as possible, if that makes any sense. First off, I discovered that the entire front display is on this connector board here. Can just be unplugged. But as it turns out, there is another screw hiding way back in there for that circuit board. So you cannot remove the circuit board unless you remove this plastic thinger here. And guess what this plastic thinger is clipped to? The circuit board. So this is very, very difficult to access. Basically, you've got this catch here. It's holding on to both the circuit board and the case. So I just don't know how I'm going to access this circuit board to do this repair. All right, folks, I finally smartened up and looked at the service manual. That's how they want you to get into this one. Unbe-frickin-leavable. Thanks, Kenwood. Appreciate it. Anyhow, let me change those parts and we'll get back to testing after I'm done. Okay, I got it all done, and it appears that the offending capacitor is an ELNA. This is why I've got trust issues with ELNA. Not the first time I've found one of them failed in one of these decks. But usually they don't fail shorted like this, so maybe it's just an isolated case. Anyway, let's get the east tester meter up here and we'll see exactly how bad that capacitor is. I mean, we already know it's bad, but see if this thing can get a reading at all off this thing. We'll go ECAP mode. And we'll just give her a little check. Well, it's still gotten the ESR, but it can't get a farad reading off of it anymore. It's supposed to be 100 microfarads, and looks like we're getting barely 1 microfarad. So yes, this capacitor is dead. Very dead. And here's the old resistor. The new one is a little bit lower in value, or in ohm readings, but it's the same wattage, so it should work now. Unless I broke something else trying to get that replaced. So the new parts are, if I can find them, there's the capacitor there. That's a Rubicon now, and then here's the new fusible resistor. Shall we see if it burns that up as soon as I turn it on again? I think that we shall. I don't have audio connected. Do I dare get audio connected to this thing? No point. We gotta service the transport anyway, I guess. All right. Cross your fingers and look for the magic smoke. I'm gonna turn it on now. And I don't know if you can see it, but we do have a display. It's very dim. Let's see if I can get a better look at it with some lights off. Oh yes, it's there. Barely, but it's there. That might wake up in time. I don't know about the level meter, so I'm going to turn one light back on because the displays are too dim for me to see otherwise. I'm going to come back here and just touch the resistor. It is not getting hot, so we fixed the problem. Let's get that blank shell in there, and then we'll see exactly what the transport does in its current state. Fast wind works. Does play work? Barely. It's not working well. The real motor is not so good in this. But I actually bought this for parts, so I don't need the real motor to be good. Let me get an audio tape and we'll see if anything happens with the meter. Let's see, which tape can I use? Where's the one that I don't care if it self-destructs or not? The old YouTube test tape. Let's get this in here and see if we got any meter action. I see nothing over here. So we've still got issues. Yeah, meter's dead. Absolutely, totally dead. Probably got more bad capacitor equators here, but let me hook up audio and we'll see if it does audio. Okay, audio is hooked up. Do we have an output level control to be aware of? That's probably it right there, which you can't see this one. I'm checking the front panel now, and yes, that is for either line out and headphones or just headphones. So test bench receiver is online. See if we get audio. Yes, we do get audio. Just got no meters, and I'm inclined to not fix that because fixing that means I have to get in behind this. I'm going to bet it's some kind of capacitor issue. It has to be. But the deck does audio, and we've got the transport working well enough to see how the transport is working, if that makes any sense. This being a direct drive version of the Sankyo deck, what I really want to do on this is take a good gander at the direct drive capstan motor so I can see if it can be quartz locked. Because that Kyocera deck in the other room, I would like that to be quartz locked. We just have to make sure that the modifications over at the Tapehead's site will actually work for that. Okay, so I decided to look into this level meter issue after all, so what we're going to have to do this, I guess, is, having read the service manual finally, we have to remove the stop button for whatever reason. So we have to get into these holes to do that and push the release tabs. And then the stop button comes off. Did not make this intuitive, did they? So now we can get access to the screw that's in behind here, finally. And remove this. We still have to deal with all these awful plastic catches, but whatever. There's going to be less trouble now, I think, because we finally got access to that screw. Yes, here we come. Guess I need to remove that knob there. Just checking that the connectors are all in place, because that could have explained everything with the meter. But now we've got access to everything in here. Finally, I'm just trying to get some more wire slack on this so I don't have to remove that connector again. So what's the problem with the level meter? Good question. Let me take a look at the solder joints here. We'll do this together. I got to take my glasses off for this. I don't see any bad joints really. So what's the deal? We've got one ELNA capacitor right there. That could be another bad one, I guess. It is 35 volts, 10 microfarads. Let's check that one with tweezers because it's easier than firing up the big one. Okay, where's that capacitor? It's right here. 9 microfarads, it's not bad. It is perfectly fine. So why no level meter? Not really seeing anything obvious on here. Don't see any other bad solder joints. Could be a couple of bad coupling capacitors over on the other side of the board, in which case I'm not going to fix it if that is the deal, because then I have to get everything back out again. Okay, power's on again. I am just not seeing much on either one of these displays. It's just so dim. This deck must be high hours or something like that, or this might have been bad for a long time. It might come back with operation, but I don't know. It's just, it would be nice to get the level meters working again, wouldn't it? I'll turn that down. I'm just trying to... Yeah, there's nothing happening there. Man, what a dim display. Yeah, it's about as bright as it's going to get, I think, but we should have something over on here and we just don't get it. I guess I'll look at the schematics one more time. I'm not going to waste too much more time on this, but I'll see what I can find out. Okay, we are looking for signal at pins 5 and 6 of CN7. Should be getting signal there. Everything's fired up and turned on, so let's get signal going and we'll see if we can find anything. Okay, there's pin 5 right there. I shouldn't have autoed it. There is a signal there, I can tell there is. No, there's definitely a signal getting through that to that. So the problem is going to be on the display board here, I think. And I gotta shut the playback off. There we go. Power off. Ooh. Look at this. Look at how much crud is on that capstan. Okay, this is a high hours deck, I think. It has to be high hours. With the dim display and blown up parts in the power supply and that capstan, it's high hours. It has to be. Anyhow, I will continue to look and see if I can find anything with the meter circuit, and I will report back. Okay, folks, I have been all over this board. I've resoldered everything to do with the level meter, and I cannot get it to work. The only conclusion that I can reach at this point is either the chip has failed or the actual meter itself has failed, the VFD. I'm not able to determine which one. I tried the wet finger trick on this IC, and the meter just does not respond to anything. The chip gets signal no problem, so I just don't know what's going on here. But from what we know of this deck, this display is already very dim, so I think this thing has just failed. So we're not going to be able to do anything to get the level meter back. But that's fine. I didn't buy this deck to actually use or anything. It's a parts deck. Alright folks, I got a little bit more to talk about here before we get on to the transport. I decided I couldn't leave this alone and had to try a bunch more things to see if I could try to get the VFD going again on the level meters, and have not been successful. You'll notice that this board has been just about fully recapped. Actually, it has been fully recapped. That is the meter driver board there. That didn't fix it. And I also went back to the power supply. You can see I've got a bunch of new capacitors in here now. A lot of them are standing up off the board because I want to get them back later. But that didn't help anything either. I found that several were leaking physically, and a few of them were out of spec, but not too bad. None of the capacitors were bad at all. It's just they weren't so good anymore. But reason I did that is because I wanted to make sure that we can actually test this later without it blowing up in our faces or something like that. Anyhow, from there I came back to this board. I checked every single ribbon cable. I checked every single pin on every single connector. Resoldered everything on both VFDs. Resoldered the entire driver chip for this VFD. And checked all the grounds. Checked everything. Checked all the voltages, everything's there and proper. It's just we've got no VFD action over here. And I checked every single pin on this VFD also to see if the voltage was correct and present, and it is. The problem is it's always minus 18 volts. It never changes, no matter what's going on with the display. So that's why I think the driver IC has failed on that particular chip. But another thing I decided to try was I jacked this right into 120 volts to see if I could get anything brighter, but no. Got the filament lines glowing brighter, but that's about all it did. So this thing's got one foot in the grave. So I really hope that the transport is in half decent shape and it will do what I want it to do. Because this thing is just 1 foot in the grave, like I said. Anyhow, let's move on to the transport and see what we can get working, and at least we'll be able to try it and see how good the wow and flutter is and all that kind of stuff on that direct drive motor over there. That's what I'm most curious about. Alright, here we go with a transport service, and I'm not exactly sure how much of the service will be on camera because in doing my research, it appears that this is mostly the same transport as the Nakamichi BX1 and BX150. So anything I did in those videos is not going to be in this video. With that said, the direct drive motor is definitely something that has not been on the channel before. So we will feature that on camera at the very least. But I should go into what I'm going to do on this transport, or what I'm planning to do, considering all the other issues this deck has. And it's really a shame that the deck is in the state it's in, because I believe the specification for wow and flutter on this particular version of this transport is 0.025%. So that's the number I'm kind of shooting for on this. But other versions are 0.027%, but that's kind of a wash. Anyway, either one of those numbers I'd be happy with, but it remains to be seen whether this particular transport is even capable of that, considering all the stuff that I've been finding out with this deck. And in fact, I just want to give out a shout out to another channel. Renee over at Cassette Deck and Walkman Repairs, that's the name of his channel, has one of these decks, and I believe he uses it to make his own 3 kilohertz calibration tapes, which, of course, if these are actually capable of 0.025%, they'd be a good choice for that, because Single capstan, direct drive, not much to go wrong with them, as long as they're in good working order. And Renee's a really nice guy, so you should go check out his channel. Anyway, we have to get the beauty plate off this thing, because I want to see just how different it is from the other versions of this transport I've seen. So we will do that now. Looks like the beauty plate goes on the same way as the other versions I've looked at, except we've got an actual cassette well light in this one. Nakamichi decided they didn't want to do that for some reason, which irritates me. But at least we know now it's possible to do it on this particular transport. So there we go. See if I can get this extricated. Got a couple of really fine wires here to deal with. And it looks like there's some tape here holding the wires to the beauty plate, so I might have to find something to replace that with. Anyway, I've got a zip tie over here I want to cut, because I want to lift this beauty plate away from the entire transport. I don't want to break these wires as fine as they are. Okay, now we can put this up out of danger over yonder. And we'll take a real good look at this. And this looks identical to the BX1 and BX150, at least in how it's built, except for the fact that it uses a gear drive idler instead of the idler tire that the NACs use. So it's a little bit newer of a version, but looks otherwise really, really close to the same thing. So probably just going to get into the direct drive capstan motor, and then I'll go off camera to do the rest of it. I'm going to apply all my standard tricks for getting the best wow and flutter out of these things. I'll pull the pinch roller and service that, and new lube in the capstan motor, of course. I'll lubricate the reel drive motor. And what I'm going to do on this reel drive motor is, because it's so unsteady in speed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it completely off, and I'm going to run it on the bench power supply, forwards and backwards for 10 minutes each, maybe at 8 or 9 volts or so, and then hopefully that'll kind of internally rebuild it, because I'm not replacing this. This deck is not worth that kind of trouble, so we'll just have to see what we can do with it as is. And the same goes for the control motor back here, which is in the same place as it is in the Nakamichi units as well. I'm not rebuilding this, at least not right now. I'll pull it off and rebuild it later for parts or something like that, but as it stands right now, it's not having any trouble, so I don't need to actually do anything about that. I may do the bench power supply trick with this as well. That'll probably get it to be more reliable, but it doesn't really have to be reliable if it's only working for today only, if you know what I mean. So, I'm not sure if I've shown the process of getting the tape door off before on this transport, but maybe we can do that now. I think it's just clipped in, really. But we can loosen off the side plate on here to get it off as well. Which I think I will probably do, because I really want to get good access to lubrication points in here. I'm just loosening these screws. I'm not entirely pulling them out. Once the door is off, I will retighten those screws. Or at least one screw. That way I don't have to worry about the thing falling apart. Okay, now this side's open. We've got to watch the spring here. It's right there. I'll show you how it is over here. fact, maybe I did show this process on the BX1. I don't think I ever did it on the BX150. So we'll just go ahead and remove door if we can. Might have to pull the damper out, but nope, I guess not. Okay, so I got good access now. Now to remove the direct drive capstan motor. Actually, I want to take this spring off for the door first so I don't lose it. I can just see it going missing if I'm not careful. So we'll come back here and see if we can disconnect yonder capstan motor. Got to move you around so I can see what I'm doing here. Removing a zip tie so we can get access to the wires. That zip tie disintegrated anyway. But yeah, I'm not too broken up about the condition of this deck considering what I paid for it. It's just, I wish it would have been in better shape than this. Okay, we've got two wires here for the capstan motor. We'll just pay attention to where they're soldered down to. It looks like this is just a terminal block for soldering with, so I'll fire up the iron real quick. Okay, and the negative wire I'm assuming is blue. Yes, it's labeled right on the motor. Negative right there. And then positive down here. And yes, that's labeled as well. So I'm just going to disconnect from the terminal block and not the actual motor itself. I think that would be the best way to go with this. Okay, positive first, making note of where it is. It's right next to this other red wire, which is probably the main power going to the motor. And the negative is disconnected. Shut the iron back off for now, and now we can remove the capstan motor. And we'll take a real good look at it, because I'm hoping it's the same type of capstan motor as the quartz lockable ones on the dual capstan direct drive versions of this transport. Now I'm going to need a nut driver for this. Give me a second. Okay, folks. 11 millimeters is the key dimension on this. So we'll just get it off and go to town. Which town? Probably Crazy Town. Alright, it's loose. And it looks like there's some kind of thread locking compound on there, which is exactly what there should be on there, so that these stay in place better. Or something. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Okay, no thread locker. Whatever. It's all good, and we'll take this off while we're at it. If we can. Be aware that there is a ball bearing under here that we cannot lose. And you can see it right there. And while we're thinking about it, this looks like almost the exact same plate as on the BX1 and BX150 version of this transport, except this part here is a little different. On the other, or on the NACS, it looks like it's kind of folded up or something like that to accommodate the installation of a lamp that Nakamichi never put in. But on this one, it's different. I don't know, it's kind of interesting. And I'm told that most of the newer versions of this transport have the gear drive on this, and this is sometimes what people do to make the Nakamichi decks or these older Sankyo transports work better, is they go over to the gear drive setup that's going on here. But I actually prefer the rubber idler tires, honestly. If I'm being honestly honest and whatnot. But yes, we should be able to get the capstan motor out now. So I'll just do that. And we'll set that transport to the side, and here it is. The direct drive capstan motor. Pretty good for lube yet, looks like. I will be relubing anyway. And I'll just show you real quick what I use for capstan motor relubing. I've shown it before, I'll show it again. It's this stuff right here. I have been extremely impressed with this stuff in capstan motors. It's working extremely well for the DD7, or for the JVC DD7, I mean, to the point that that deck is below 0.020% wow and flutter. It's ridiculous how low and wow and flutter that deck is, but we're dealing with this right now, and I'm just going to try and get a good look at the parts being used here to see if it can be quartz locked, because that is one of the main reasons why I bought this. And we've got a capacitor or some such glued down to this chip, so I can't identify what it is real easy. Maybe I can now that I've freed it up. And this is part of the reason why I'm leaving my fingernails long for this video, is because they are tools. Very often they are a good non-destructive way of getting parts removed and whatnot. So I like to leave a little bit of length on them. But I'm going to have to use some kind of a chemical assistance on that in order to get a look at that part number. So I will bring out the acetone and clean off the top of that and hope the numbers on the IC don't go with it. Okay, that's about as much as I'm willing to do for that. Let's have a look here. I don't know if you guys can read that number, but I cannot read it in person. I will have to look at my footage later. And I also want to get a look at what number is on this IC over here, because that will tell the tale. And I have to do a lot of photographing on the back side of this and the front side of this, just to make sure that that this motor can be in fact quartz locked. Because like I said, I want to do that on that Kyocera deck, which is another big reason why I have this deck, is because I wasn't sure how many parts would interchange from the BX1 parts deck. I wanted to make sure I had parts for that, because that deck was extremely expensive. It was on par with the Nakamichi 480 I bought. That deck was $260, and the Kyocera was also $260. Not too thrilled about that, but that's what it took to get one. What's this capacitor here? Looks like 16 volts, 10 microfarads, so I will be replacing that too while I'm in here. Provided I've got one that fits. It's kind of on the small side. Kind of really on the small side, but I'll get to that in a minute or 5. Or 10 or 20. We have to get this motor apart first. Looks like just 3 screws to get into this one. Okay, and the number of the chip on this end is right yonder. M51721L. That's what that is. And we're just going to leave the FG coil wires alone. That's them right here. if you can see that. And I want to take the oil keeper off the front of this. Oh, there is actually thread locker on this motor. You can kind of see it there. It's kind of spilled over. It's green thread locker. And we'll pull that out. And there's our FG coil right there. I want to clean this up real good and clean up the capstan bearings and such, and I can commence to re-greasing and re-lubing this. Might as well do this on camera since we're here. Grab my iso alcohol, bunch of Q-tips, and we'll just go ahead and do this. Get the thrust bearing first. If this is high hours, we need to redo all the old grease in here. And let me think here. What am I going to do next? Well, I'll grab my acetone. There are times when I do this and times when I don't, and this is one of the times when I'm going to do this, and that is to run a pipe cleaner soaked in acetone through the capstan bearing, just to make sure it's fully clean, because if this deck has high hours, I kind of want to make sure. It does not appear that we have any debris stuck in the middle of the capstan bearing. You can't actually fully clean out a capstan bearing, by the way, because they're sintered. They retain oil. As I understand it, you would have to pull a vacuum on it in order to get all the old oil out. And I will get my rocket blower and I'll blow out the center of that just to make sure there are no fibers stuck in there. And what is a rocket blower, you may ask? Well, it's this thing. You use these for cleaning lenses on cameras. At least that's what they're intended for, but they're good for other things too. Looks pretty clear. Go in from the other side just in case. Had just a little bit of a hair in there. I don't see it now. So hopefully she's all set to go for putting back together. Now we'll grab the flywheel here and clean that up real good. And the capstan, of course. Use the acetone for this. Acetone just does a little bit better of a job than iso alcohol does. And this is already pretty clean, so I don't think I need to do any more cleaning of that, but I want to clean the outside of the flywheel as well. It's really not looking too bad though. There's nothing really sticking to the outside of it, so should perform well once it goes back together. Assuming the rest of the deck performs well, but I shall do my best with something that is obviously has its best days behind it. We'll come back here as well and just do a good scrub of the back side of this, because we got to put new moly coat back in here. And that's the dust I'm getting off this thing, or the dirt or grime and whatnot. There's a fair bit down in the center here and back. Okay, where's my syringe with the oil? Here it is. I will get some in here to start soaking some into the capstan bearings. Front and back. This looks an awful lot like the capstan motors that are used in the Teac decks, like the V-900X and the V-1RX. It wouldn't surprise me if they're kind of the same motor, honestly. which means there might be a chance I can quartz lock the V900X now. Isn't that an exciting proposition? Okay, we'll get some good old Molykote EM30L for the thrust bearing back here. Just a little dab like that'll do ya. Not much at all. And it would be good to just let this sit overnight so the oil can soak in, but I don't really have time for that, so I'm just going to reinstall as is and hope for the best, as it were. But I will add just a little bit more oil about midway down on the capstan shaft, right like that. And that should be all the lube it needs. And now we can reinstall the backside of this. I can feel vibrations as it comes to a stop. So it needs more lube. Otherwise, it's moving fairly freely. Oh well, that's fine. We can do more lube. I don't want to do too much, but at the same time, if it's clearly dragging down to a stop like that and vibrating, then it's not going to give me the best wow and flutter numbers. So we'll try again. Okay. It's getting better, but it's still there, the vibration. So this might be some real dry bearings back here. At least that would be my guess. Okay, you stand up like that. You can't see that, can you? We'll just let the flywheel stand up like that, and I'll just apply another drop down into the actual bearings themselves on both sides. I don't want to feel that vibration when this thing goes back together. We don't want vibrations. Vibrations mean there's not enough lube. And now I got a lot of oil down on my bench, so maybe that's enough this time. It's still kind of there, but very much reduced. So that might be the best I can do for this. It's running about as freely as I've ever seen one of these things running, so might be okay. And I'm just going to swab the oil off the capstan shaft for now. I'll go in with iso alcohol later and clean it real good at a later time. But I want to get these screws back into this right now. And we shall see what this results in for wow and flutter later. And that has been way more oil than I usually use on these direct drive motors, but it's running very freely. Oh, the vibration is almost gone now. Yeah, I think it's going to be okay, actually. Let me put the oil control washer on the front again, and we'll continue on with this deck. I'm going to leave just a little bit of a gap between the washer and the top of the capstan bearing, so the washer itself can't interfere with the wow and flutter. That would be the idea behind that. And I will just come down here with a isopropyl soaked Q-tip, and I will just wipe off the or clean off the capstan. I'll probably do it again later when this deck goes back together, but for now I'm going to put this capstan motor... Oh, right, I gotta recap this thing first. I guess I'll do that next. And there you have it, one perfectly working capstan motor. I'm running it off the bench power supply now, and just thought you might like to see exactly what the current consumption is on this particular device. 0.024 amperes. I almost said percent. Got those wow and flutter numbers in my brain, what can I say? Anyway, I should let you know that I tested this motor while it was still in the deck with the bench power supply, and I got 0.040% amperes. So it is considerably more happy than it used to be. And I can only hope that it even gets more so. I noticed it was going down there to about 0.023%, and that's nice. I like the way this motor has turned out, so maybe it'll perform well. But that kind of depends on the rest of the deck. Okay, folks, we have something to talk about here before I go any further with this. I just got the reel tables off, and I just wanted to show you something. They have two springs hiding underneath there. They look like this. If I can get the camera to focus. I'll just do like this. You see how there's this little tab right at the bottom of this? Well, those fit into notches in the other side here. You can kind of see one right there. Just right down there. That's where those notches go. And then there's one on the other side as well, up here. Make sure those are in place when you do anything with the reel tables. I wasn't sure if I ever showed that on camera before, so I figured might be best to do it now. And one other thing I should caution you about is, I'll show you the back of the reel tables. You see these silver areas here? Anyhow, Kenwood does these a little bit different than a lot of other manufacturers do. Most of the time, what you find on a Kenwood is those little black sections are just painted on. And if you go at these with anything stronger than distilled water or something like that, the black portions will just come right off, and the deck won't be able to tell if the reels are turning anymore. So be very careful around those. Ideally, you dry wipe these if possible. Let's see if I can do it on camera. Or if I'll lose control of the camera here. But yes, go very easy on those, because you don't want to wipe out those black sections and then have to Sharpie them back in, because that's kind of a pain. Anyhow, I thought that bore mentioning. We'll have to keep that in mind for sure with the KX-1100G when we get to that deck. I don't know, I might show it at the end of the video, because I'm real nervous about how this is turning out and the kind of condition it was in when it showed up. I just kind of want to see how good a condition the 1100 is in, because if it's anything like this one, I don't know. Alright folks, this motor's been running for a few minutes now. It's in the reverse direction now. Had it running for several minutes in the other direction as well. It's drawing 0.017 amperes at 9 volts at the moment, and it is behaving a lot better now. When I first started this, it didn't hold very consistent speed, but it's performing a lot better now. And I'm finding that it's now able to start at 0.5 volts. Before it was something around 1.5 or 2 volts that it started at. So it's performing a lot better now. So hopefully it'll be behaving itself now. Anyhow, I've relubed the front bearing several times in this with the ISO 46 compressor oil, so that's about all I'm willing to do for this motor. But maybe it'll be okay now. Like I said, I'm not putting a new motor in this particular device. Nor am I doing a motor service on this. I just don't have time. So it's going to have to be what it is. Okay, folks, the transport is done and back in the deck. Knowing my luck, I'm going to have to get back in there again anyway. I do have the rear drive gear slightly outwards from where it was at factory. I'm kind of hoping it reduces the take-up torque on this just enough to get real good numbers on the wow and flutter, but I must tell you, when I had that back together, I could just kind of feel the whole assembly pulsing. And I'm not exactly sure why. It's something to do with the felt clutch or something. So we may not get the best numbers possible with this particular transport. So next thing to do is just fire it up and see what works. So make sure it's turned off for the time being. I'll plug in. Okay, now let's fire it up. Capstan motor's on. We've got a stupidly dim display as usual. Cassette well light is on. And I must tell you, thanks to the lube job of the capstan bearing, I can now take a Q-tip like this, touch this end to the capstan on this side, and spin it by just brushing the capstan. Unbelievable. First time I've ever had that, I think, but it's possible I've never checked it before. So yes, capstan is working. I'm going to give it one last little cleany-deeny before we do any actual testing. Because I don't want any crud getting on the pinch roller. I've only got half the lighting going because I need to be able to see the display on this thing. And it's just that bloody dim, so I just want to check and be sure that I've got all the oil off of everything. There might be a little bit of a drop yet on the pinch roller. Let me clean that off. Getting that motor back in there was kind of a hassle, but I managed. Pinch roller took about 2 passes with acetone and 1 pass with isopropanol to really get it cleaned up. It was really, really disgustingly filthy, but should be all good now. It cleaned up rather nicely. I didn't bother with the soap and water on this particular occasion because I'm not expecting to use this deck for much longer than this video takes to finish up. So I got my test tape ready. Is everything dry in there? Looks like it. I do have audio connected, but the receiver's not on yet. I just want to see how this thing works first. And I also don't have the face on, obviously, but let's see what happens. Rewind. Yes. Fast forward. Yes. Counter is advancing. Not that you can see it. Well, maybe you can see it. Let's go for play. And supposedly it's playing, but I don't know because the meter doesn't work. So let's turn the receiver on. Might be some wow and flutter, might not be. We're a team, antenna and you. I know you guys have heard that song in the last few videos, but I like that song, so it's Antenna Research by Cat System Corp, if you want to know what that is. It sounds good. I will say that for it. But I will tell you one thing right now, and that is I am not going to adjust the azimuth at all on this thing. I don't think there's any point, really. We'll just hook up the laptop and take a look at the wow and flutter and get the speed dialed in, and we'll just see what good this transport is anymore. How about that? And oh yeah, gotta throw the front. I just can't talk today. I'll throw the front on. How about that? We'll do that first. All right, I think we're ready to go here for speed test and wow and flutter and calibration and whatnot. We're going to do two things with this deck. First, we're going to do the obvious speed calibration and wow and flutter check. And then we're going to go in with the new white noise metal tape that I've got, because I want to see exactly how good the heads in this deck are. It's a parts deck, so I need to know exactly how good the heads are. I'm optimistic, so that means this will probably go very wrong. But anyway, I decided to go ahead and do 0.1% over in the T100 software. All the same, and the adjustment for the speed is right up top here in this corner of the motor. So should be ready to go. So let's get you in close on the laptop. And I'll power up the deck. Deck is online. First of all, we're going to put in the double D7 speed calibration tape. That deck does 0.015% wow and flutter, so it'll show how good this deck is, or isn't. Let's see, is that a good view for you? I hope so. All right, cross your fingers, your toes, and your eyes. Well, maybe not your eyes, because then you can't see what's going on, so here we go. Oh, not bad at all. 0.033%. It's not as good as I would like it to be, but maybe it'll fix itself over time. I don't know. Let's adjust the speed a little bit. It was already almost right on the money. These calibration pots are not very easy to adjust sometimes, but what are you going to do? I tell you what I could do is I could replace it with a multi-turn pot, maybe, if I could find one that would work. I think I will leave it right there, 2998.2 and 0.1. It's extremely stable. We are still getting around 0.033 to 37% wow and flutter. That's perfectly fine for a deck with the condition issues this has. We've got a big spike at around, what is that, 31, 32 hertz, maybe 35. That could be the pulsing I was feeling with the real motor drive. In fact, I bet that's what it is. Then we've got another one around 7 hertz. That one spikes up to 0.03%. That would probably be capstan motor related. So this is an extremely well-performing deck, even despite the age on it and obvious wear. So I'm very happy with this. Yes, very nice. So I'll shut this tape off. And then we'll see what kind of performance we get out of the playback quality here with the white noise tape. Let's see, close, scope, and white noise, that's what we want. And I can't tell whether or not the switches on the for the tape type are working, but I didn't clean them and I'm not going to, so let's see what we get here. Going for play. And that pretty much tells the story right there. We've got a big roll off at 6 kilohertz or so. And the deck is basically done at around 10 kilohertz or 15 or something like that. It's possible that's an azimuth issue, but like I said, I'm not going to bother looking for that. Instead, I will rewind my tape and just plan on never using the heads from this thing. If I can't talk again. If it comes down to a point where I absolutely need the heads for something, then I will do an azimuth adjustment at that time and reevaluate. But clearly this deck is extremely worn out. I mean, look at this display. I haven't even put the filters back in there yet. So I'm not sure if I want to, because then you can never see the display at all. Anyway, yeah, I guess I'll put those back in. It's not hard. To close out this video, as promised, we're going to have a look at the KX-1100G. That's it on top here, as evidenced by the fact that it's considerably dirtier than the 880 is. It's got some condition issues. I paid 140 bucks Canadian for this deck. There's a little smudging going on here. If only I had a parts donor for that. Wait a minute! I do have a parts donor. Anyhow, this deck is not in great shape, I'll tell you that right now. I did try it when I first got it, and both the reel motor and the control motor are dead spotting on this one, so we're just going to do a little mini diagnosis on the 1100G and see what it's like, see if it's still like that or whatnot. I like that we have bias and level for both channels. That's real nice. When I first got it, it had the bias switch on and it wouldn't do anything. It took me a little while to figure it out, but yeah, that's the bias switch at fault there. There were two different models of the 1100. There's this one, this is the first model, and then there's the 1100HX, which is the second one, and the HX version is better because it's got, well, HX Pro, I think. There might be other differences that make it better, but I don't know. And I will probably never know because I'm really not a Kenwood guy. But we'll just fire it up and see what happens. First, we'll turn on the lower deck. You can see how dim that display is, or maybe you can't see it. There, can you see it now? It is on, I promise. I've got both decks hooked up to power, so let's turn on the 1100. There you go, nice bright displays. This is how they're supposed to look. And this is how the 880 would look too if it had half-decent displays in it. But we've got lights in both wells. Obviously, we've got every part of this display working. That's nice. We have capstan action on both sides, so the belt is good for the intercapstan belt, I mean. But I'll warn you now, this deck is not going to play anything. But we're going to try it anyway. We're going to go with a tape I can afford to lose. Let's see, where is it here? There it is. We'll see if tape type switching is working. Should get normal bias. Do we? Yes, we do. Oh, the reel drive is working today. Interesting. But I warn you, it's not going to play. You see? Okay, now we're getting the... Now we're getting the problems. This is what it did when I first got it. Worked maybe once or twice and then started eating tapes. That's why I put that particular tape in there, but yeah, it's probably just the control motor dead spotting. Let me get the cover off this and yeah, tape and source switching seem to be working. Anyway, let's get the cover off this and we'll see how the capacitors look in there. Okay, here you go. Here's a look at the interior of the 1100. Basically the same thing as the 880, except the
Control motor is up here instead of back down in this corner, and it's double capstan, so you can see how that is. This deck will be getting quartz locked, assuming the heads are good. If the heads are not good, then this capstan motor will be coming out and going into that Yamaha over there. As bad as that Yamaha looks, that deck is such a good recorder that I really want a decent capstan motor in it. So give me an excuse, Kenwood. Anyhow, this deck is why I didn't want to waste a bunch of new capacitors in the 880, because you can see it's got all the same brown Elna capacitors that the 880 did. In fact, it looks like it's just about the same board, except with more of it populated over in here. Interesting how they put this one together. But they're both the same generation of Kenwood deck, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put you down here. We're going to fire this thing up again. And I'm going to get my blank shell. And I want to see if the reel motor is actually dead spotting or not on this thing. Let's see what we got. Okay. No reel drive is working right now. See if you can see it. Yeah, it's not moving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this screwdriver here. I'll zoom out just a little bit more. And we're going to thump on the reel motor to see if it starts working. Because the control motor is working right now, so we can do this. Yep. Reel motor is shot on this thing. But it is working now. So can we get audio out of this thing? I turned it off by accident. Let's see if we can get audio, shall we? I will take my half-eaten original test tape and load it in properly, I guess. Let's see, it's on tape, yes. The RCA jacks are all messed up in the back of this thing. So it looks like I've got an excuse to pull parts out of the 880 as soon as I start working on this one. Yeah, the audio jacks need to be replaced on this one. I can't screw them down anymore. So, receiver's going hot again, and we will just see if we can get any playback out of this thing. And then after this, I'll show you exactly which tape showed up with it, because it's really cool. Okay, it stopped again. I'm going to have to be quick with this. It has a lot of problems, doesn't it? Okay, I think we're done with this deck. We'll make it happy eventually, just not right now. Anyhow, that's the 1100G. And yeah, I guess that's going to be it for today, guys. I will see you in the next video. Take care. I forgot to show you the tape that the 1100 came with. Here it is. Not sure what's on it. I just know that the 1100 ate it. So I don't know if I want to play that. Anyway, that's that.